Next one is associative forecasting technique. Associative means here the association is the kind of a relation, right? Um, if you take like a machine learning class, then you might learn the association rule. That's one of the unsupervised machine learning association rule is the trying to find out which one is the has some relationship with the other things. It's trying to find out which variable has a high correlation with the other variable. So usually the marketing department use a lot of association rule. Is the customer purchasing pattern when you got all the purchasing data, then you try to find out most of the customers, someone who purchased the toilet paper also purchased the soap. Yeah, that happened most of the time. I don't know what is the reason. However, most of customer who purchase toilet paper also purchase the soap. Uh, then we can tell there's association. There is association between toilet paper and the soap. Uh, we don't know why. That's simply we can say there's association. So associative forecasting technique means we trying to use that kind of relationship. I don't know what cause what or why these two things are moving together, but we are not interested in that part here. The trying to make a more accurate forecasting, right? So as long as that's related, why don't we use that associative forecasting technique? So we want to use a predictor variable. We believe that is the associated with our variable that we trying to forecast. Right, so home value may related to the property size, right? If it's bigger, home value will be higher. Location, number of bedroom, number of bathroom, they will affect my home value. So we don't know it really has a good predictor or not, but actually what it means, we already know that this technique. What is that? That is a linear regression. Right? And then we can find out if the p-value is too big, then we can drop the variable, which means that variable doesn't help us to predict our dependent variable. Then we just drop it. So first thing what you have to do is you have to just come up with all the variable. Either it's available, and also you might suspect that has a related to our dependent variable, what the variable you're trying to predict. You collect all of them and then run the regression, and then you can drop some of them. Maybe you think that I have a strong relationship, but it turns out to be not. It's possible, but after you run the regression, you know how to do it because we learn a lot of the regression techniques. So multiple regression, yeah, that's what we did most of time in this class. So you can figure it out. Using this regression, when the new things comes in, and you can just make a forecast how much it will be. What is the issue? Now we already know a lot of issues that way better than this one. Linear regression use a line. That's a linear. Are you sure it's a linear regression? If it's not, it seems like they have a different curve relation. Then you have to use a log or the polynomial part, introducing the polynomial part, and then you have to uh, adjust your formula. Or sometimes it's a time dependent. So as time goes by, something is keep moving. Then what you can do is adding t as an independent variable. Okay, so that then in that way you can do it, or you can do the time series. But if you think a lot of different things, oh, you're here to use time as an independent variable. Not only the time, so time series analysis, or that is the using only the variable different t. But if you think of all other factors also important, you can just add t as a independent variable. Auto-regressive model. So we already talked about it. So if you use old data, this is the same value but old information. And if you run the regression, that's what we call the auto-regression. And so we have to check the autocorrelation, if there is autocorrelation or not. We already learned. Finishing the forecasting, the monitoring the forecasting is whenever you have a forecast, then as you forecasting and observing the what is the actual value, and then you make a forecast. Every time you are collecting the new information. As you collected the new information, and you have to keep eye on your error. Maybe one technique was pretty good at the beginning, but as times go by, that is getting worse and worse, and then the other technique is getting better and better, and at some point you might have to change the model, right? So you have to keep eye on, and you have to keep track the error, and then you have to keep evaluating your forecasting technique, forecasting method. Sometimes we use a control chart, but this is out of scope of this class. So this control chart is usually related to the quality management. That's a whole different story, so I don't want to talk about. Tracking signal is also part of the quality management, but I don't want to talk about it here. Okay, so when you choose the forecasting technique, what should we use? Moving average is simple, is good enough, or do I have to use the what was that? The exponential smoothing, or do I have to use the trend adjusted forecasting, or regression, or machine learning? Whatever, you can use a lot. However, the no, actually there's time is separated out. Not only the dollar amount, this is also some effort, right? Or that's too complicated. That you have to consider not only the money actually you paying, and also you have to put your effort. So if it requires a lot of effort, then you can say that's expensive. And you have to think about the accuracy. Of course, you want to have an accurate model, but you are not just choosing the most accurate model. Maybe the most accurate model is quite expensive, or right? And then availability of the historical data. Model looks perfect, but you don't have enough historical data, then that's useless, right? And can we have a software that's like without putting a lot of effort? Actually, this is related to this too. And how long is it gonna take to get a forecast? If you need like a 1 month to make a forecast for the next month, then that's too late, right? We are trying to move in advance. That's why we are trying to make a forecast. But I will get a pretty good forecast right before that happened. Then that's useless, right? So that's why you have to think about it, or what is the how long it's going to take. And then forecast horizon. Are we trying to forecast just next month or next day, or are you trying to forecast like a 10-year later? Sometimes when you make a decision like building a new factory or not, actually you have to forecast like a 10 year, 20 years. Of course, 10 year, 20 years forecasting is it's hard to make it right? So you have to think about, are we trying to forecast the next month and then you want to have a pretty accurate forecast, or are you trying to forecast like 20 years later? That's pretty lousy. Then maybe you have to just rely on the quality method rather than the quantitative method, because even though you use the quantitative, it's not gonna be right for the like a 20 years later forecasting. Okay, that's it about the forecasting. And then I will show you the one regression